welcome to the Pelvic Power Podcast. My name is Penny, and I am the host of this lovely space. I am a pelvic floor yoga teacher who teaches people with pelvic pain how to use movement, breathwork, and body awareness to ease and manage their pain while living a pleasurable life. In this space, we'll be talking about all things taboo because we love it, and how to support your lovely pelvis and your lovely self on this journey that you are on. I'm very happy that you are here, and I hope that you enjoy this episode. Welcome back to another episode of the Pelvic Power Podcast. I'm very excited that you are here today, as always. Let's dive into power today. Let's dive into your pelvic power, because I feel like we haven't really touched on the topic of the Pelvic Power Podcast, where that stems from, since I actually started the podcast. And we're coming up on almost 100 episodes. So I figured, why not touch on your pelvic power and what that means to you? I was doing my pleasure practice the other day, and once you start to do this work, I was talking to one of my students yesterday about how it kind of becomes a story. Your body becomes a story that it wants to tell. And I was doing my pleasure practice, and as I'm doing it, I'm getting all of these epiphanies or thoughts or sensations within myself that are not just pleasure sensations, but sensations about myself and how I show up in life and what kind of life I want to live. And I find that pretty freaking interesting and also fun, because starting to tune in when you're doing your pleasure practice and noticing what is coming up for you, is that your pelvic power talking to you? You know what I'm saying? When it comes to your pelvis, there's so much power within your pelvis, and I feel like we're not talking enough about it. After I did my pleasure practice, I went to bed. Or was it later in the evening? Yes, it was later in the evening. I was reading a book. And I'm going to read this little snippet for you here, because I feel like that just fit right in. Know your lady landscape. The pelvic bowl is a witch's most powerful magical tool. It's a cauldron, a place where we create, make life, and connect directly to source. Place your hands on your womb space, and if you no longer have a womb, that's okay. The energetic imprint still holds power. On your pussy, on your root. Feel how good it feels to hold that much freaking power in your hands. When you root into your pelvic bowl and all the magic and power you hold there, then you can begin to tend to the roots of the world. And the good news, by regularly tending to your own roots, you will automatically be healing the roots of the sisterhood and the world. Which, that is multitasking at its very best. And I feel like we've touched on this before, the magic of self-pleasure, your pleasure practice. But also what she's saying here, tending to your own roots first, your own power first within the pelvis is so important. And if we don't do that, how does that perhaps manifest itself as pain, as discomfort, as unease within the pelvis and also within ourselves, within our body, and how we are walking through life? They often say that people that are masturbating a lot, they're glowing. And I feel like it all goes hand in hand. And the more we tend to the power within our pelvis, the more we might be able to support ourselves going forward in where we want to go. And being in this space, I know that this person probably doesn't live with pelvic pain. She's probably had her own issues. Maybe she does live with pelvic pain. I don't really know. Maybe I should know, because I did read her other book, but it's been years, which I can definitely highly recommend, by the way. The other book that she has, well, first off, the book that I did read of was Witch, Unleashed, Untamed, Unapologetic by Lisa Lister. And she has another book that you probably heard of if you're in the space, Love Your Lady Landscape. Trust your gut, care for down there, and reclaim your fierce and feminine she power. And it's the same author. So I read this book a couple years ago. Maybe I should remember if she was living with pelvic pain. But I feel like most women have had some issues when it comes to their pelvis. And we're in the space, we live with pelvic pain. And I know that living with pelvic pain, sometimes we tend to not want to, think about our pelvis. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to tend to it. We don't want to care for it. Maybe we do want to care for it, but maybe we don't. Does that also make sense? Because sometimes if you look deep inside, you're like, I do want to tend for it, but I don't have the capacity to do so. And it all comes back to all the small things that you can do for yourself that don't need to be major. Like placing your hands on top of your pelvis, doing your pleasure practice, breathing into the pelvic bowl, connecting with your pelvis through your breath. There's so much power within the pelvis, and I feel like it's just so untapped, you know? We haven't tapped into it. And I'm there myself. Like this is something that I'm really exploring within myself right now. Okay, how much power within my pelvis do I have? How much of that power am I not tending to? And how much of that power am I maybe a little bit scared of? What do I think will manifest if I step into the to that really strong true power that is within my pelvis, that lives within my pelvis? If you think about it, your pelvis is such it is a source. Like you're just looking at the body and how you're standing and how your pelvis is impacting so many parts of your body, just physically, but also energetically. Like this is where we're being intimate with someone, where we're having sex, where we're giving birth if we choose to, where we connect with people on a much deeper level, the people that we do choose to connect with, the relationships that we do choose to have. So when I, for example, look at intimacy, having intercourse with someone is an energetical bond that you're creating with that person. It's an energetical exchange. And I'm all for like, having sex, go out there, have fun, be a slut, whatever you want to. I'm all for it. But also for me, my pelvis is such a sacred part of me. And I feel like there's so many different ways of like looking at the power within the pelvis. So who do I want to share that power with? Who do I want to give that power to when you're talking about that energetical exchange you're having with someone? I think your pelvis knows. I think our body knows if you want to have sex with someone or not. If you think about it, if you've had sex before and you were really struggling, maybe in a relationship that you were having with someone, I can only speak from my own experience, but maybe you were struggling with sex with in a relationship with someone, and then you broke that relationship off and you actually have a think about it. Did I actually desire to be intimate with that one person? Did my pelvis actually know something about that person that I wasn't aware of, that I didn't know? Is my intuition living in my pelvis? Was my intuition telling me something? And I also think we get scared of kind of going into that a little bit because many of us are either scared of being alone or never be chosen, never be loved, never feel desired. And then we kind of just, skimp over the intuition. And then we might be causing more pain in our pelvis. These are just thoughts that are going through my mind right now and things that I'm working on within myself. And when you think about your pelvic power, what comes up for you? Is there some untapped source within that you can maybe dive a little bit deeper into, and maybe you will get some answers on where to go next, how your pelvis actually want to feel supported, how your pelvis want to feel pleasure, what your pelvis wants to experience in life. And it doesn't have to be serious either. You can have fun with it. Go out there, flirt, be a little slut. Go out there, flirt. But tune in. Okay, does my pelvis actually enjoy this person? Does my pelvis want to be close to this person? And what is your pelvic power actually telling you? So, bringing it back to, okay, what is your pelvic power? What is your pelvis maybe trying to tell you? What is some power that you might be repressing, that you might be pushing down, that you're scared of, that may be, brewing in your pelvis, in your cauldron? I definitely recommend these two books. If you live with pelvic pain, Love Your Lady Landscape. Love this one. If you are into more like the witchy things, this is Such a great book. I love this book. She talks a lot about the womb power and the power that many of us women might need to remember, that we forgot, that we might have, yeah, repressed, that we might have pushed aside for the patriarchy. But she also mentions how to like create your own spells and things like that. If you are into that, you know me, I'm a sucker for a good crystal. Love to sage my place. I do a little glamour magic. In comes masturbation. And if you're into that, definitely recommend this book. This was just a little short, sweet episode for you to kind of have a think about. Okay, what does my pelvic power tell me, and what do I need to tune into? Maybe you need to go and do a little pleasure practice right now. Maybe you can slow down a little bit, take your time, feel into your body, touch your body, feel into your sense of being within your pelvis. As this is released, I am skipping, hopping around in Greece, feeling like my hottest self. I am ovulating. I am tan. I am by the ocean. I am hanging out with all these amazing people. And I hope that this podcast episode lands well with you today. As always, I love to hear your epiphanies. Feel free to send me a message. What are you learning about yourself in this process that we are kind of going on? I feel like maybe there's a series coming along soon where we can dive a little bit deeper, make it a little bit more interactive. Just had that epiphany. Let me work on that and we'll see where we get to. Until next time, remember that you are a goddess. You deserve pleasure in your life. You deserve to connect with your pelvic power. Go get these 2 books or one of them. Let me know what you think about them. Let me know if you resonate. I love you a bunch. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye. If you love this episode, I will be so grateful if you could leave a rate and review in your podcast app. It would mean so much to me. If you're tuning in on YouTube, feel free to hit subscribe and leave a little comment down below about what you learned about yourself today. Thank you so much, and you have no idea how much I appreciate you for being here.